So you have a delete action. You get, basically, you cannot delete anything that has any hours associated with it. So we won't allow you to delete your timesheet, which is good. Some people thought, well, I'll be smart about it, and I'm going to say, okay, my G&A salaries, because we say you have to enter your time daily, because that's a DCAA rule. You have to save your time daily. So every day by 10 a.m. the following business day, you have to have your time entered for the prior day. Otherwise, you're going to get an email saying your time wasn't entered, and your supervisor is going to get an email as well.
What's DCAA?
Direct contract, the auditor of government contractors, basically.
You have till 10 a.m. the next day.
Right. And it's not a bad thing. I think it becomes, you go through 2 weeks of getting those, and that's where they're going to say, okay. But it happens. I can show you all the nestograms I get because I forget. But some people try and say, okay, well, fine, I'm just going to put 8 hours to G&A every day this week. We won't let you do that because another rule that DCAA has for the government contractors is you cannot enter billable time in advance. So G&A overhead is all considered billable time because in some way, shape, or form, the government's going to pay for that time. So we don't let you do that. However, so get rid of that. You can enter non-worked time in advance, so vacation, holidays, that all can be done in advance. So I'm going to add a new line, a PTO. Save it. Okay, so my actions, I have submit, and this is when I'm done. I say, okay, I have 80 regular hours, 5 overtime hours, total hours 85. I'm going to submit in accordance with the company policy. Now, another thing about this is if you have a pop-up blocker on, you will not be able to submit your timesheet from Silverlight because that message, that company electronic signature, is a pop-up. So if you do have tight security on your machine, you would want to allow from the site. So you have an option to always allow from a specific site. But I've submitted my timesheet and it says this timesheet is currently submitted. Once I submit, I cannot make any changes to my timesheet. Doesn't mean it's set in stone or locked in. Doesn't mean if you accidentally hit PTO and you meant to hit bereavement or something, doesn't mean it can't be changed. You just have to have your supervisor reject it. But you can't change it at this point because it's pending approval. Look at your timesheet report. And this is going to be where it tells you who you are, the status of your timesheet, beginning and ending date, all the hours you've charged, and the comments that you had entered. So it's going to tell you what day those comments are associated with. Electronic signatures never print on this.
Are we going to have to print and sign them too?
There's no system requirement for that. And most, I think electronic signatures is enough internally. But it's an option if any customer you're billing requires that. Some people do. Sorry. So yes, this is going, I guess the first day of the pay period in the new year is December 25th. So you can access this version probably now. I think they're going to send out, David or Carlo or somebody's going to send out a link. This is just in your test environment. You can play around with it and do whatever you want, but it will be in production live on December 25th. So starting I guess on the 27th, you'd be entering your time into there. So as an employee, this is all you have to do. Your timesheet's done. You just enter what you worked on, and we're done. Now, as an approver, another thing that you can do is your PTO. There's a button that says PTO. When you click on that, it's going to show you your available balance, and that's going to be your PTO vacation balance as of the beginning of the pay period. This will not include any PTO that you've entered into your timesheet in the current period. We don't and it's also not going to include, so if I do a PTO request for April 2012, when kids are on spring break, it's not going to include that in there because I'm not going to decrement anybody's PO or PTO balance until they actually take the time. Okay, so that's, from an employee perspective, that's it. You're done. So who's Stephen? Sorry. Okay, so then, as an approver or a supervisor, the change period becomes important because as an approver, you don't approve the current pay period because nobody's going to submit their time in the middle of a pay period. So I'm not going to be, when I approve time right now, I'm not going to be approving anything for the pay period ending December 12th, only December 6th. I'm going to be approving things from the November 13th pay period. So as an approver, I would need to go and change my period to the prior pay period. Again, I don't need to know what day. I just pick any day. And then I click Approve. And my approval list is going to show anybody who is a direct report to me. I click on their name, and it's going to show their timesheet. It's going to show their hours they've charged, their charge codes. And if I run a timesheet report, it's going to show it's no longer PVBS, it's Robert Shaw. It's going to show it's been submitted. Here are the hours. Here are the job codes that he charged. So I can either approve it and everything gets approved, Jackie's happy, she can do payroll, or I reject it, and if you reject, you have to enter a reason for rejection, because otherwise an employee is not going to necessarily know what they need to do to fix it, to get it to post. So now another thing that we have is the copy function. If you have a number of job codes, if you have a number of jobs that you put on your timesheets, and you don't want to enter those every month or every pay period, you can just hit copy, and you can say copy a previous timesheet. We will not copy hours. We're only going to copy the job codes and the structure. That's about it from the timesheet entry. Right, but
Thank you.
Well, actually, there's one other component to show, though, because you have the basic HTML option. So anybody who's using an Apple operating system or is on a secure government site, certain agencies within DHS, FBI, CIA do not authorize Microsoft Silverlight to run. So we have the basic HTML option. Plus, I think I'd heard that the latest operating system on Apple supports Silverlight, but most people are going to be using iPads or iPhones to enter their time would want to use the basic HTML. Accesses the same tables. So the same timesheet that I did on November 27th, I had 85 hours, 5 hours of overtime. Surprise, surprise, I see that here in this basic HTML version. I'm going to create one. So I can add a line. When I add a line, I see my same indirect jobs. I see my same direct jobs, WBS codes, pay types, all the same. But what happens in the basic HTML version, you're prompted to save a lot more frequently because we're not holding all of the data in in the memory or in the cache of the Microsoft program, we're saving it and committing those changes each time. So I just go to the day I want to work on.
Is it 3 o'clock class or
2:30.
2:30?
Is it 3:30? Is it 3:30?
Oh, it's at 3:30 next time. Okay, cool. Did I miss a lot?
Yeah. You want to come back at 3:30 for sure.
All right.
So each time I do anything on the basic HTML, I essentially I enter time, I save it. There's no concept of entering a bunch of time and then saving. It's enter my hours, save, enter, save, which actually is good in one respect. You don't have to remember to save. It's bad in the respect that there's no ability to look at the big picture and then modifying without entering a reason for change. You also still have the My PTO, and it's going to show you your same vacation balance. There are only 2 things that you cannot do in the basic HTML version, and that is an electronic PTO request, and you cannot enter comments of what you worked on in a given day. But that function only works in Silverlight.
Question on the Silverlight version. You are worried about the pop-ups. What do we do regarding that?
Probably don't have to do anything because you'll get a notice. You'll get something up here saying pop-up blocked. And usually you can just right-click on it and say allow from this site.
Allow, okay.
Yeah.
So something will pop up right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually, and it's that, and then, that'll. But the 2 are, I actually have some people who even on their office site, they like the simplicity of the basic HTML. They use that one versus this. Again, it's the same security, same table, so it doesn't matter.
And if you work from one and then you were on your iPad or something, you could work from the other one, you see the same information.
Yep. So I just entered some time on the November 13th payroll in the HTML version, and I entered 18 hours on the basic HTML, and I just pulled it up in Silverlight.
Okay.
So it accesses the
Connection.
Yep. So I guess with that, I'm not going to timesheets. Any other questions?
Well, it's important. Thank
Yes,
you very
but
much.
it is. But it should be straightforward.
Thank you.
Any questions on the phone? I guess not.